Thank you everyone for coming here today morning. We'll start with Brahma Samhita recitation, after which we'll have Bhagavatam class and then Guru Puja. We can all recite together. Ishvara Paramah Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam Chintamani Prakara Sadma Sukalpa Vriksha Lakshavriteshu Surabhirapi Palayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Satasam Pramasevymanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Venum Kwanantamaravinda Dalayataksham Barhavatang Shamasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Alola Chandra Kalasat Vanamalya Vangshi Ratnangadam Pranayakeli Kalavilasam Shamang Tribhanga Lalitam Niyata Prakasham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasya Sakalendriya Vrittimanti Pashyanti Panti Kalayanti Chirunjaghanti Ananda Chinmaya Sadujjvala Vigrahasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Vajami Advaitamanadimanantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayauvanancha Vedeshu Durlabhamadurlabhamatma Bhaktau Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Panthastu Koti Shatavatsara Sampragamyo Vayorathapi Manaso Munipungavanam Sopyasti Yat Prabhadasimnya Vichintya Tattve Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ekopyasau Rachayitum Jagadanda Kotim Yat Shaktirasti Jagadanda Chayayatanta Andantarastha Paramanu Chayantarastham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yad Bhava Bhavita Dhiyo Manujastathaiva Samprapya Rupa Mahimasanayana Bhushah Suktairyameva Nigama Pratitaistuvanti Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratipavitabhes Tabhiryayeva Nijarupataya Kalabih Golokayeva Nivasatyakilatma Bhuto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Premanjana Chorita Bhakti Vilochanena Santas Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti Yang Shama Sundaramachintya Gunaswarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ramadi Murti Shukalani Yamena Tishthan Nanavatara Makarod Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Sambhavat Paramah Pumanyo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagadanda Koti Kotishvashesha Vasudhadi Vibhudi Bhinnam Tad Brahma Nishkalamanantam Ashesha Bhutam Vindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Maya hi yasya jagadanda shatani sute Traigunya tat vishaya veda vitayamana Sattva valambi parasatvam vishuddha sattvam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Ananda Chinmaya Rasatmataya Manahsu Yas Praninam Pratiphalan Swaratam Upetya Leela Yitena Bhuvanani Jayadya Jashram Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Golokanamni Nijadhamni Tale Chatasya Devi Mahesha Haridhama Suteshu Teshu Tete Prabhava Nichaya Vihitascha Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Reka Chayeva Yasya Bhuvanani Bibhardi Durga Ichhanurupam api yasya chateshta chesa Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Kshiram yatha dadhivikara vishesha yogad Sanjayate nahitatah pratahasti heto Yashambhutam api tatha samupaiti karyat Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Deeparchireva hi dashantaram abhyupetya Deepayate vivrtahetu samana dharma Yastadrikeva hi cha vishnutaya vibhati Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Yah Karanarnava Jale Bhajati Sma Yoga Nidramananta Jagadanda Saroma Kupa Adhara Shakti Mavalambya Parang Samurtim Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Yasyaika Nishvasita Kala Mathavalambya Jivanti Loma Vilaja Jagadandanatha Vishnur Mahansa Iha Yasya Kala Vishesho Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Bhaswan Yathashma Sakaleshu Nijeshu Teja Swiyam Ki Yat Prakatayat Yapi Tadvatatra Brahma Yayesha Jagadanda Vidhana Karta Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Yatpada Pallava Yugam Vinidhaya Kumbha Dvandve Pranama Samaye Saganadhiraja Vignan Vihantum Alamasya Jagatrayasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Agnir Mahi Gaganamambu Maruddishascha Kalastathatma Manasiti Jagatrayani Yasmad Bhavanti Vibhavanti Vishanti Yancha Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Yachakshuresha Savita Sakala Grahanam Raja Samasta Suramurti Rashesha Teja Yasyajnaya Brahmati Sambhrata Kala Chakro Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Dharmo Tapapa Nichayas Shrutayas Tapangsi Brahmadi Kita Padaka Vadayascha Jiva Yaddatta Matra Vibhava Prakata Prabhava Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Yastu Vindra Kopa Mathavendra Mahosva Karma बन्धानुरूपफलभाजनमातनोति कर्माणि निर्दहति किन्तु च भक्तिभाजां गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि यं क्रोधकामसगजप्रणयाति भीतिं वात्सल्यमोहगुरुगौरवसेव्यभावैः संचिन्त्य तस्य सदृशीं तनुमापुरेते गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि श्रियः कान्तः कान्तः परमपुरुषः कल्पतरवो द्रुमा भूमिश्चिन्तामणिगणमयी तोयममृतं कथागानं नाट्यं गमनम् अपि वंशी प्रियसखी चिदानन्दं ज्योतिः परमपि तदास्वाद्यमपि च स यत्र क्षीराब्धिः स्रवति सुरभिभ्यश्च सुमहान् निमेषार्धाख्यो वा व्रजति न हि यत्रापि समयः भजे श्वेतद्वीपं तमहं इह गोलोकमिति यं विदन्तस्ते सन्तक्षिति विरलचारः कतिपये ईश्वरः परमः कृष्णः सच्चिदानन्दविग्रहः अनादिरादिर्गोविन्द सर्वकारणकारणम् इति श्री ब्रह्म संहिता संपूर्णम हरि ओम Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for coming here. Very grateful to be here. We'll start with Jai Radha Madhava prayers. Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Gopi Janavallabha Jayo Girivaradhari Jayo Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Vihari Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Vihari Jayo Gopi Janavallabha Jayo Girivaradhari Jayo Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. So we'll start with the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaurav Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So today we are going to discuss about Srimad Bhagavatam, and the most important verse of Srimad Bhagavatam is the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. The first verse is very important because just as when you write a paper, thesis, your abstract column is more important than the whole paper, because that's where they are going to decide whether they are going to read the further in the paper or not, right? People can just reject hearing your abstract. Before that, we should understand what is Srimad Bhagavatam. Anyone would like to share what is Srimad Bhagavatam? Of course, no, there are stalwart book distributors are here. They would know more about Srimad Bhagavatam. Could you share something?
I asked this question to you, bro. And I will share what I heard from you. So, Bhagavatam actually means something which is related to Bhagwan. It could be an object, or it could be devotees of Krishna, of Bhagwan or Krishna. And that is Bhagavatam. It is about Krishna's devotees, or Krishna's dealings with his paraphernalia, or Krishna's pastimes. And Shri means beauty, you mentioned, and Shri also means opulence. So Srimad, I think it means, it's a beautiful narrations of Krishna's pastimes, or devotees of Krishna, or Krishna's paraphernalia and Krishna's activities.
So he has stolen my points now. Would you like to share? Thank you, Kautakarna Prabhu. It was beautiful. Anybody else would like to share about Srimad Bhagavatam? You would like to share? Yeah.
I have heard from a few lectures that there are two types of Bhagavatam, person Bhagavatam and book Bhagavatam. So person Bhagavatam is the devotee who preaches, and inspires others to learn more about the book Bhagavatam and also Sri Krishna.
Yeah, very nice. Thank you for sharing. So we have two types of Bhagavatam, person Bhagavatam and book Bhagavatam. So today I'm going to share about Bhagavatam. You can use it as an elevator pitch. Does anyone know what is elevator pitch? Please.
If you're with someone on an elevator and you have a really good idea, you have as long as it takes to be on that elevator to let them know what that idea is.
Yeah, that's nice. So especially in the Bay Area, when you are doing a startup and you want to pitch to an investor, the investor doesn't have so much time. So you have to pitch him the whole idea within an elevated time. Because he is very busy, he would enter into the elevator and he doesn't want to waste that time also. So you would ask some of the people who want to pitch their idea, you want to hear that. So before the elevator reaches the destination, you should pitch your whole idea, and that should attract the person also. Otherwise, he'll just not move forward with that idea. Same thing with Hollywood movies also. When the screenwriter and the story writer has to write about the movie, they have to do an elevator pitch to the production companies. And hearing that, they would take a step forward in producing the movie or not. If they don't like even that part, they're going to reject the whole thing. So we also need to, every one of us have to prepare an elevator pitch for Bhagavatam, especially when we are going for a book distribution or sharing with others. We need to know something about Bhagavatam which we could immediately share. One of the things, as Kautakarna Prabhu said, is understand the title itself, Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam has two words. It's a Sanskrit word, Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad is the first word, and Bhagavatam is the second word. But they are combined together, it's a compound word. Just like the word in English, school bag. It's one word, right? It's a compound word. So similarly, in Sanskrit also you have a compound word, Srimad Bhagavatam. The word Shri means opulence, wealth, Lakshmi, beauty, and so on. So Srimad means that which possesses all of these opulences. You can call that as a beautiful, or you can call wealthy. All these things mean Srimad. So the word Shriman comes from this, Srimad. So we call Shriman Kautakarna Prabhu. So that means, you can say he's beautiful, but also he is very knowledgeable as well. You can use that same term, Shriman. Then the next word is Bhagavatam. So the word Bhagavatam comes from the stem word Bhagavat. Bhaga. Does anyone know the definition of Bhaga? Please, Mike.
I heard it from the definition of Bhagavan. Bhaga represents the opulences of the Lord.
Opulences, very nice. Do you know the verse for it?
That one that starts with Aishwaryasya.
Aishwaryasya. Samuga, please go ahead.
I don't know the last part.
Last point, okay. So, you would like to share? Okay. Yes. Okay. Okay, please go ahead.
I have Aishwaryasya, Viryasya, Yashya, Jnanasya, Vairagyasya, and Shreya.
Oh, very nice. So, Mataji, if you could project SSR, first chapter. Oh, you got it. Okay, please go ahead.
Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya yashasa shriya jnana vairagyayoshchaiva shannam bhaga itingana.
Itingana, very nice. So you can search for Aishwarya in the page, Learning the Science of the Soul. Aishwarya. AISV. I don't. AISV. Not H. AISV. Yeah. So if you're from South India, you would put AISH. Ishwarya. Aishwaryasya samagrasya Viryasya yashashriyaha Jnana vairagya yoshchaiva Shannam bhaga itingana. So bhaga is being defined. That's what the last phrase says. Maybe you can just show the verse itself. What is bhaga? Aishwarya. Aishwarya means, one meaning of Aishwarya is influence. Charismatic. If you are being charismatic, you are also called Aishwarya. The other meaning of Aishwarya is wealth. You have a lot of opulence. Samagrasya, all the opulences is being talking here. Not just part, but all the complete opulence. Viryasya, Vira, heroic, bravery. Yasha, which is a fame. Shriya, beauty. Jnana, knowledge. Vairagya, renunciation. So all these 6 qualities are said to be bhaga. So one who possesses these 6 qualities completely is Bhagavan. So Bhagavan means one who possesses all these qualities. So the word Bhagavat is the stem word, and then Bhagavan is the final word. So the word Bhagavatam also comes from the word Bhagavat. Bhagavata means that which is related to Bhagavan. We have the word Vasudeva and Vasudeva. Right? Kunti and Kaunteya. So this is the same rule is being applied here. Bhagavata, Bhagavan, Bhagavat and Bhagavata. That is which is related to Bhagavan. It could be devotees of Bhagavan, or it could be pastimes of Bhagavan, or it could be qualities of Bhagavan. Bhagavan means God. So that is the meaning of Bhagavatam. Basically, beautiful Bhagavatam, or beautiful narrations of Bhagavan and his devotees. So that's an elevator pitch. So, but then the next question that comes is, sorry, one second. So the next question comes is, who is this Bhagavan? We know he possesses complete opulence, but where is he situated? What does he do? Is he going to sit and punish people, or is he going to do something else? Who is this Bhagavan? So that Bhagavan should be described in Srimad Bhagavatam. So if you look at the story of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Vyasadeva wrote all the scriptures, Vedas, Puranas, Itihasas, Mahabharata, Brahma Sutras. He wrote all these works for the people of Kali Yuga, because in Kali Yuga he saw that people are becoming, their intelligence is weak. They have very less memory power. They don't have so much time also. They're always undergoing lamentation and sadness and misery and dejection. So for them, he has to simplify things. So he took one Veda. Previously it was a one big Veda, and then he divided into 4 parts, so that at least one part people can study and then nicely follow it. And then he gave it to his disciples. And then some people are not qualified for reading the Vedas, because if you want to read the Vedas, you need to go to Gurukul, you need to study it Sanskrit for 12 years, and after that you need to practice, memorize the whole Veda, you keep it in your mind, and you have to do all these things. So it's not practical. So he also wrote Mahabharata. So Mahabharata is explaining the whole Vedas, But then he was also very clever. Mahabharat, inside the Mahabharat, he also put Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita gives the conclusion of the whole Vedas. It is the cream of the Upanishads. So when we read the Mahabharata, many of us are attracted to Mahabharata. Many of us, would have watched Mahabharata serials, right? So because it's lot of action is there, lot of story is there, lot of chivalry, heroic actions. All these things are there, and it very naturally attracts the minds of people. So within that, the main goal of Vyasadeva is to embed this Bhagavad Gita. So by reading this Bhagavad Gita, people can come to the right conclusion. But even then, after writing all these things, he wasn't satisfied. He also wrote Brahma Sutras. So Brahma Sutra is a cream of, you can say, is a summary of Upanishads. So each Veda, what are all the 4 Vedas? Anybody can share? Please, use the mic.
Rig Veda, Sam Veda, Atharva Veda, and Yajur Veda.
Yajur Veda, nice. And each Veda is also divided into 4 parts. Samhitas, Brahmanas, Aranyakas, and Upanishads. Samhita is just prayers for different gods, different glorifications of Indra, Shiva, Vishnu, all these different gods. Then you have Brahmanas and Aranyakas. They talk about sacrifices, rituals. How do you perform a sacrifice? What are all the different rules you need to follow? Then comes the part of Upanishads. Upanishads talk about how you can get out of this world. That's the most important aspect. Because when we stand in the shore of the sea and then lament about, so many waves are coming here, that's not going to help us. So similarly, in this material world, it's like an ocean. A lot of waves of problems are going to come on repeatedly. How much of our problems we try to solve? 100 years back, we didn't have so much scientific innovations. So then before that, if you go back in time, in 1700, they created the Renaissance movement. So, they were trying to oppose everything, and then they tried to come up with all these artistic expressions and go against the Bible, come up with our own ideas. Why they are trying to do that? To become happy. And then same thing in the scientific revolution that happened in 1900s. All these things, they were trying to create all these products to make our life very simple. But compared to the past, we have become very busy. The machines are supposed to help us and simplify our life. But contrary to the fact, we have become very busy in maintaining and managing these machines. So we are trying to get that happiness, but that's not here. So that's why the Upanishads are there to teach us, don't try so much, get out of this world. That's the main part. So the Brahma Sutra is like a bookmark, you can say, for the Upanishads. So Upanishads talk about several topics. All these topics are discussed in Brahma Sutra in a sutra format. The beauty of the sutra is it's very small, very concise. The main goal of the author of a sutra is to reduce as much as syllables in the sentence you can. Why? People have to wrote it in their memory. So if you have to memorize, you don't want to put a very long sentence. You have to make it very brief, and so that you can memorize it very nicely. So he wrote that Brahma Sutras, discussing the different topics of Upanishads. But even after that, he wasn't satisfied, Vyasadeva. We can only imagine what would happen to the people who just read Brahma Sutras. Even Vyasadeva wasn't completely satisfied writing this Brahma Sutras, Mahabharata, Vedas, and other works. So he was thinking, I have done all austerities very nicely. I have performed all penances very nicely. I have, I have done good work to others as well by writing all this literature, which would help people. But even after that, I'm not very much satisfied. What's happening? So when he was pondering over it, and at the time, Narada Muni came. So Narada is the guru of Srila Vyasadeva. So Narada knew something is going on in Vyasadev's mind. So he arrived at the house of Vyasadeva, and he chastised Vyasadeva. He was saying, you have written so many works, but all these works, you are actually confusing the people. Because you are giving them so many options. You can do this, you can do that, you can worship Shiva, you can worship Brahma, you can worship Indra or Devi, all these different paths you are giving. Vyasadev's idea behind this was that gradually bring the people. People in tamasic guna, he recommends them to worship Shiva. So once they get out of the tamasic guna, they will just progress toward the rajasic guna. In rajasic guna, you worship Brahma. And then you come up, and then finally in the sattva-guna, you can worship Vishnu. So this was his goal, to bring all the people up to sattva-guna, and then finally worship Vishnu. But that wasn't happening. So Narada Muni was saying, you are giving it to Kali Yuga people. They are going to just simply stuck with whatever the path you are giving. They will just be taking all the Tamasic Purana and they'll say Shiva is the supreme, and then they will not give up that idea and then move forward, So he chastised him. And then he said that you have to directly glorify Krishna. Why? Krishna is so beautiful. His pastimes are so attractive. You can relate it with, because Krishna's form is very human-like. And that's why in India, in several cultures, you would see that influence of Krishna is there. That in different dances they like to perform Krishna's pastimes. Why? Because it's very charming and it's very beautiful. They're very much attracted by the pastimes of Krishna. So he says, you directly describe about Krishna, and that will attract the minds of the people of Kali Yuga. Jai Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki Jai. So, Krishna, he is very attractive. So when Shishupal was born, he was also born with envy toward Krishna. He also hated, he did not like Krishna. But still then, his mind was completely absorbed in Krishna. So at the end, when Krishna was taking the Sudarshan and then he was taking out the head of Shishupal, Shishupal attained liberation. Our acharyas explained that he actually attained prema. Why? Because of his complete absorption in Krishna. Even in hatred, people get absorbed in Krishna, which doesn't happen with other forms of Krishna. I mean, all the forms of Krishna, which includes Narsingadev, Vamana, Varaha, Matsya, all these are same person only, but they manifest different qualities. But in the personality, in the form of Krishna, he manifests the full sweetness, and because of which even the demons get attracted, and then they become absorbed in Krishna. What to speak of the people of Kali Yuga, they will also get attracted. So this is what instruction he was telling to Vyasadeva. You should write directly about Krishna, and then give just one object of worship. Don't give so many gods to worship. Just give only one object. That is Krishna. Write about him explicitly. After that, so he heard a lecture from his guru. So after hearing that lecture, before preaching it to others, he has to actually realize that knowledge himself. So this is also an instruction we can take when we are trying to preach. The more you realize the knowledge you have learned, the more effective it will be when we are sharing with others. Of course, we take the orders of Srila Prabhupada and our gurus to go and help share this knowledge with others. But we should also focus on our own realization as well. How much are we realizing this knowledge? We should not be just like a parrot repeating the statements. We should also try to follow whatever is given and then realize the sweetness. So Vyasadeva sat in Samadhi to realize whatever was spoken by Narada Muni. So in that Samadhi, he saw Krishna, full form. And then not only that, he saw also Maya Devi. Maya Devi was hiding herself behind Krishna. She was very ashamed to come in front of Krishna. Why? She is doing the thankless task, policing task of the jivas. So the jivatmas like us, they are all completely covered. We are all completely covered by Maya. So that's why we are identifying ourselves with this body. Oh, I am so-and-so person. I work in this place. This is our identification. I have my family. I have my friends. That's all our identification is limited to. But actually we are the Jivatma. We are eternal person. We are conscious person. We don't have death. The death is only there for the body. The birth is only there for the body. But the soul does not have birth and death. So but we are not able to see that fact. Why? Maya is covering. It is an illusion. It covers us. It covers us to the extent we don't even know who we are. That's the first question you ask when become a human being. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Then therefore inquire into Brahman. Inquire into your own self to see, who are you? Who am I? Am I this body? After death everything is going to be finished? Or am I going to continue this life? So in the Samadhi of Vyasadeva, he saw jivas, and he also saw this Maya is covering the jivas, and he also saw that bhakti yoga to Krishna is actually helping the jivas to get out of this clutches of Maya and then ultimately attain the perfection. He saw all the conclusions there. He saw Krishna there, he saw Maya there, he saw jivas, and he saw jivas covering Maya. And then he also saw bhakti yoga is helping the jivas to get out of the clutches of Maya. After that, he came and wrote this entire Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam is also called the Samadhi Bhashya. Directly coming out of the Samadhi, he is speaking what is happening, what has happened. His realizations he is directly sharing. This he has done after he has written all the Puranas, all the Itihasas, Mahabharata, Brahma Sutras, and all the Upanishads. This is the final work from Vyasadeva. He is giving that this is the last end, this is the crux, this is the cream that you can take it, and apply in your life. This is Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, we heard the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. So before that, I would like to ask if anybody has any reflection or question to ask. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for summarizing so beautifully. My question lies when you were talking about Vyasadeva being dissatisfied and Vyasadeva being guided in the right direction by Narad Muni. Now, also we understand Vyasadeva being the incarnation of Krishna, right? Now, Krishna being all-knowing, he should have known the shortcomings of Kali Yuga and shouldn't be presented in that way, right? He should have directly reached to Bhagavatam. So what is the reason behind going in that direction?
So Vyasadeva is also Trikalagya, because as you said, he is also incarnation of the Supreme Lord. He saw the Vedic practices are going to help people, but it's not going to help to the ultimate goal. That point he missed it. Why? Because our acharyas explained that just as Arjuna was in the Bhagavad Gita, the battle, the battlefield, so he was put into illusion by Krishna himself, so that the Bhagavad Gita will come out. So similarly, Vyasadeva was also put into illusion by Krishna. Now you can say how he is Krishna himself. How can he put himself into illusion? But we saw in the pastimes of Brahma Vimohana Leela that Balaram was put into illusion. So when the Brahma Vimohana Leela, and Lord Brahma came and he stole all the cows and cowherd boys, Krishna expanded himself as all the cows and cowherd boys. So for 1 year, he was maintaining that fact because Brahma has stolen all these gopas and everyone. 1 year, Balaram, who is also an incarnation of Krishna, he didn't even know that. He didn't realize it was all Krishna. He was thinking it is all cowherd boys. But then after that, he was looking at it. Why is that all the mothers are so much attracted to their own sons so much? Previously, I have not seen this much they have so much attraction. All the cows, they would run toward the calves and then they will lick the calves, they won't leave. Why? Because it is all Krishna. Krishna has expanded himself as calf. Krishna has expanded himself as different gopas. He wasn't realizing. Then he thought, probably there is some influence of demon might be there. He was thinking. And then he thought, no, I am the supreme God. How can demon cheat me? Nobody else can cheat me. But there is one person who can cheat me. That is Krishna. So then he realized, he saw that, oh, it is all expansions of Krishna. Krishna himself has done all these activities. So Balaram was put into illusion for 1 year, because Krishna is the supreme God, full manifestation of the godhood. So he can do that. So similarly, Vyasadeva also was put into illusion, so that beautiful Bhagavatam will come out. You need a story for Bhagavatam to come out. If he simply writes Bhagavatam in the first go, people will not take, okay, where is your masterpiece? My first work is my masterpiece. Nobody would take into consideration. You need to have a lot of experience in your writing, and then you would have to present your masterpiece. Here is my masterpiece, right? So like that. So for that purpose, for Bhagavatam to come out in a beautiful background, this whole thing has happened.
Is it okay if I have another question?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. You talked about like speaking from realization,
Okay.
not just knowledge. So how does knowledge turn into realizations?
Yeah, that's a good point. So you're asking me the question. So we have the practice called abhidheya. Abhidheya is what you are performing every day, what you are doing every day to achieve the goal. So I want to become a doctor, let's say. I'm in school and I want to become a doctor. So I have a goal. I have not realized it. But how can I realize that goal? By taking the right courses. I have to choose the particular school, and then I have to, study the subject. I have to follow whatever the practices, and I have to train myself. So similarly, the knowledge we have gained, if we want to turn that into realization, then we have to do the sadhana practice, which starts with Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. So hearing, chanting, and glorifying about Krishna, worshipping Krishna. So by these activities, all our knowledge, theoretical knowledge, will turn into realization. So this happens gradually, but our goal should be that we should realize that knowledge ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
So I have one question. When you told us that we are all covered by Maya,
Right.
so this has been like one question that's been sticking with me for a long time. Why? If Krishna is very compassionate towards us, we have. I can understand that we have fallen from the spiritual world to here, but why is He covering us with illusionary energy?
Yeah, that's a good question. Why should God cover us, right? He should be a very compassionate person. He should just keep us with Him. Why should He cover? The thing is, we don't like our original position. So, originally by nature, we are servants of God. We are there, we are existing to satisfy the Godhood or Krishna, right? By that we will get our pleasure. It's not that we are deprived of blissfulness, but because we did not like that position status, then we have been covered by Maya, so that we will think, oh, I am God right now, right? I am the person who needs to be satisfied. Everyone around me should work to satisfy me. That becomes the goal. So because we wanted that, we want that situation. Because we want it, we have been put in that situation. But then the question will come is, right now I am thinking that I don't want, why I am not getting out of this? Correct? Very logical. Why, Krishna should just take me out, right? But the question is, do we really want it? That's the question. Do we really want it? Do we really want to give up all these things around us? All my office job, office work, salary, and all the different paraphernalia which we use, my house, my relatives, everyone we want to give up? If we want to give up, then we should be having a sannyasi dress, right? We don't want to give up. We are attached to this. We want this. We are continuing that. Though we are not acknowledging it explicitly, we are not realizing that fact. We want this. That's why it becomes very difficult to worship Krishna every day. Why? When we try to sit and chant the rounds, we are very bored with that. As soon as some disturbance comes, immediately keep the chanting back. Let me look at email, WhatsApp message. What is this WhatsApp message? Maybe there is something related with my preaching. I should help, but then start looking at Facebook and other things. Oh my God, 2 hours is lost completely. What happened to my chanting, right? So we are attracted, enamored by other things. Still we have that attraction. So unless we are covered by Maya, by illusion, we will not think that I am the center. To make us think I am the center, Maya is covering. And also, really speaking, we are not really the center, because even in this world also we will realize in the past there were so many kings, and they were all thrown out, and then the democratic system came into picture, and now every 5 years there is one person in the center, right? Or here in the US, every 4 years you have president coming up. They have to work very hard, and then the next person to kick that person out and put himself in the center. So this world is like that because everyone wants to be the center. How can everyone at the same time be the center of everyone else? So Maya has created the temporariness, the temporary thing, the temporal thing, so that everyone will get a chance. You be the center today, tomorrow let him be the center, and day after tomorrow let him be the center. So this is how it works.
I have another question,
Yeah.
Prabhuji. So it's about when you said Vyasadeva brought in his Bhagavatam composition when he practiced, out of his enlightenment that he received from his guru. So I don't know where I heard this, but I read in Srimad Bhagavatam that Buddha is an incarnation of Krishna, but I also heard in one of the lectures that we don't take the teachings of Buddha because they were brought out of his own realization. I couldn't relate to that and what you said here. So could you please throw more light on?
So your question is why Buddha is an incarnation but we don't accept his teachings?
Why? If we don't accept Buddha's teachings because he got it out of enlightenment, why do we take Vyasadev's teachings? He also got it out of enlightenment.
Oh, I see. So your question is Buddha also got enlightenment. Why we didn't take his teaching? We don't take his teachings, but we take the teachings of Vyasadeva.
Yeah.
So, you see, even the person may get enlightenment, he should have the goal of getting other people also to enlightenment. But if his whole goal is something else, then we may not accept the teachings. The goal of Buddha was not to give enlightenment to others. The goal of Buddha was to stop people from killing animals. Right? So in the name of Vedic sacrifices, what happened? A lot of people started sacrificing animals, killing animals. Literally, without any benefit to them. They started just killing animals. So Lord Buddha wanted to stop all these activities. So he came and then he said that, I'm an enlightened being, which is true. He is Bhagavan himself. So he threw away the Vedas. He said, I'm going to reject the part of the Vedas which talks about the killing of animals. But he accepted other parts of Vedas because he also talks about karma, reincarnation. All these things are Vedic ideas only. It is not something new. But he didn't accept the complete Vedas. His goal was to divert the people from killing animals and to be peaceful, not give troubles to others. That was his goal. And that's why his goal was not to give you enlightenment and get you out of the clutches. So that was not his goal. So that's why we don't accept the teachings of Buddha, because he had a different purpose.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you. Yes, Prabhuji. I think Rohini Dulal Prabhu was raising his hand for a long time.
Prabhuji, Prabhuji, is Brahma Samhita is considered one of the Samhitas in the Vedas, or it's a separate composition?
So Brahma Samhita, traditionally it is not considered part of the Vedic works, because Brahma Samhita was discovered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Kerala, right? So before that part, not a lot of people know about Brahma Samhita. Only in Kerala temple they were reciting, Adikeshwar temple. But before that, none of the regular Vedic schools, they were reciting Brahma Samhita, because they don't know that work existed. So it's Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who came and took out that work. Just like Srimad Bhagavatam, before Vyasadeva compiled Srimad Bhagavatam, people don't know about Bhagavatam. Are they going to read Bhagavatam? Where is Bhagavatam? Bhagavatam was not revealed. It has to be revealed by a sage. In this case, the Brahma Samhita, you can say, I think it was revealed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to all of us. He took out of Adikeshwar temple, then he brought it and broadcasted it.
Okay, so even Bhagavatam, none of these pastimes were originally part of the Vedas. They were separately composed by Vyasadeva, right?
So the Vedas, they don't talk so much about the pastimes of Krishna, though there are mentions of Krishna in the Vedas. In the Chandogya Upanishad is also there that he is the son of Devaki. It is there, one of the main Upanishads as considered by Sankaracharya. We have Gopala Tapani Upanishad also, which talks about the pastimes of Krishna, which is also Shruti, Vedic literature. But not so much is being described there. So now the question will also come, so Vedas are not describing about it and only Puranas are describing about it. Is that a less status? Because Purana somewhat traditionally considered somewhat lesser than the Shrutis. Shruti means this direct words. Puranas is the words of somebody else, like that, right? But Purana does not mean just it is history. Purana, in the past. Jiva Goswami says Purana means that which completes, Purnayate. That which completes the Vedic work. Without that, it would be very difficult to understand the meanings of the Vedas. So you have the Puranas being coming out, and then it is completing the whole Veda. That's why Bhagavatam says Puranas are the fifth Veda. Not only Bhagavatam, you have the statements in the Upanishads itself. They say the Puranas and the Itihasas become the fifth Veda. Yes, they should be considered as the fifth Veda. This is discussed in detail in Tattva Sandarbha by Jiva Goswami. He gives all the quotations. So they are of equal status in that sense.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you.
So on that note, I was thinking that even Bhagavatam was there before the conversation between Vyasadeva and Narad Muni happens. It seems that Vyasadeva edited the Bhagavatam after the conversation happened. So can you explain what was there previously and what? Because Srimad Bhagavatam, as you say, is about Bhagavan. So it should not be like Vyasadeva wouldn't have talked about Bhagavan even previously. So what changed?
So what was previously in the Bhagavatam, nothing so much was mentioned by our acharyas also. But I would suppose that he has written in general about Bhagavan. Like you also have Vishnu Purana in general. But when after hearing from Narada Muni, he has specifically written about Krishna. That the whole 10th canto is full of pastimes of Krishna. Though the Purana should be talking about 10 topics, Sarga, Visarga, Sthana, and other topics, creation and so on. The 10th topic is the Ashraya becomes Krishna here. So Krishna is explicitly talked about by Vyasadeva when he re-edited the Bhagavatam. So now 40% of the whole Bhagavatam is just the 10th canto. So you can only imagine. So he emphasized Krishna there. Previously the emphasis of Krishna was not there. In general about God and powers of God was there. But then now he added this information and centralized that. Thank you. Anything else? Yes, Prabhuji.
Are all Puranas written by Vyasadeva or is it?
Yeah, all the Puranas are written, the main Puranas are written by the Vyasadeva. 18 Puranas are there.
Okay, so basically every part of knowledge source is from Vyasadeva then?
Vyasadeva.
Okay. Because sometimes when Puranas is established in lower in hierarchy, one of my understanding was, since it's written by Vyasadeva, why establish this hierarchy? Because it's coming from the same source of knowledge. So it should be taken as a valid authority.
He didn't say that. It was said by the Mayavadis. So Mayavadis are so prevalent, the impersonalists are so prevalent in India that they said that, we are going to only accept the Shrutis, we are not going to accept the Smritis. Why? Smritis are going to contradict a lot because it's full explanation. The Vedas are very, they speak Parokshavad. Parokshavad, Krishna says in 11th canto, Paroksham Mama Priyam. Paroksha. Paroksha means hiding things. You don't say it directly. He says it's very dear to me. Krishna himself says that. Then, the sages glorify Krishna in very hidden way. So when everything is hidden, you can derive any meaning you want. But Puranas are not like that. They are not meant for hiding things. They are meant for revealing things. So it becomes very difficult for them to interpret, give different conclusions. So they said, okay, Puranas are lesser status. Shruti is the higher status. It was an idea proposed by them. It is not there in the Vedic literature itself that, Puranas are lesser than because even the Upanishads are saying Puranas are fifth Veda. They are giving the status of the Veda. They are not saying they are lesser than Veda. So that idea is propagated rather than given by Vyasadeva.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Okay, so continuing our journey. So this is the glory of Bhagavatam. So for this Bhagavatam, now he has to write an abstract, right? So now he has to write the first verse. The first verse, it becomes very important because so much glory is found in Bhagavatam, and then you have to put the whole thing into the first verse. In Sanskrit, when you compose the first verse of any work, you try to put the entire subject into that first verse. And the author spends a lot of time in composing the first verse because it should attract the reader to go forward. And should it also give the conclusion or the subject of the main subject discussed in the whole work. So in 1970s, the newspaper, like New York Times, the front page, it mattered to them a lot. So they used to have this executive editor office. The executive editor office at 5:30 p.m. every day evening, all the senior editors, not just regular editors, they will all come and sit in a table. If you're very exceptional, you will be allowed inside the room. Otherwise, you won't be allowed inside the room. And then they will all sit and discuss what is going to appear in the front page of New York Times the next day. And all the senior editors, exceptional capabilities, they used to put their hands under the table because they used to shake. They don't want others to see that they are, so much fearful and they are shaking because they are very fearful of their own ideas. They have to pitch a good idea, otherwise they will be kicked out of that position of being an exceptional editor. And if some of their reporters have messed up their story in the field and they don't have good story to tell, they are very fearful of justifying whatever the idea they have come up with. It was very stressful situation, and they have to go this every day at 5:30 p.m. to decide what's going to appear in New York Times front page. And people used to decide whether to purchase the paper or not looking at the front page. If they're attracted, they will purchase it. If they are not attracted, they are going to simply throw it away. Of course, today we have internet, so 24 hours news is there. Front page doesn't matter so much. But those are the days front page mattered to them a lot. So in the similar way, the front page of Bhagavatam is the first verse, or first verses, few verses which are the Mangalacharan prayers. We should also give auspiciousness to the readers as well. So this first verse, Vyasadeva should put the conclusion. What are all the things you should put? You should definitely talk about Bhagavan, Bhagavan should be there because the whole Bhagavatam is about Bhagavan. But what else is the unique feature of Srimad Bhagavatam? Just in one word. Bhakti. Okay, nice. Bhakti. What else? Bhakti is glorified in Bhagavatam. That was one of the instructions of Narada Muni to Vyasadeva to glorify Bhakti extensively in Bhagavatam. Krishna, the whole 10th canto is pastimes of Krishna. 40%, almost half of Bhagavatam is covered by the Krishna's pastimes. Krishna should be there. Bhakti should be there. Bhagavan should be there. Krishna should be there. And when we talk about Krishna, Krishna shouldn't be glorified alone. Krishna should be glorified along with his devotees. So his interaction with his devotees, his interaction with his devotees come in the form of rasa. So rasa is a technical term. It's a mellow. In any relationship, we feel some sweetness. Otherwise, we wouldn't be attached to that relationship. Husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, or father and son, father and daughter. All these relationships have sweetness. That's why we are attached to that person. When the person leaves us, we become so dejected. So dejected to the point that person is ready to commit suicide. When the love breaks, he's committing suicide. He's not able to tolerate that unhappiness. What was he getting out of this, sweetness in the relationship? That is material. What is because spiritual? The spiritual rasa or the mellow in the relationship, that should be even more sweeter. So that should be discussed. And our acharyas say that the highest of all the mellows is the conjugal rasa, the madhurya rasa. So the madhurya rasa, in one sense, it's a representation of all the rasas because it contains every other rasa. Chaitanya Charitamrita says. So madhurya rasa is discussed in the first verse. And then you also have Radha and Krishna we have here. Radha is the principal gopi that is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, in the pages of especially the Rasa Leela. So she is the main subject that is revealed in Bhagavatam. She should also be present in the first verse of Bhagavatam. So Vyasadeva has to compose a verse including all these different things into the first verse. And we also saw Vyasadeva has composed Brahma Sutras, and then he know that Brahma Sutras is going to be misinterpreted. If you look at Sankaracharya's commentary on Brahma Sutras, that would be completely different from what Ramanujacharya talks about, what Brahma Sutras. Every sutra, they will have different meanings, How is it? Because the sutra is very short. You can come up with anything. For example, the first sutra of Brahma Sutras is Athato Brahma Jigyasa. It says inquire into Brahman, right? Then the literal meaning is now, therefore, inquire into Brahman, right? It says, what does now mean? Now means literally now at this point, at this second. What does now? Don't know. Therefore, do you start a statement with therefore? That I meet you for the first time. Therefore, I am Vraja Jivan. If I say, it doesn't make any sense. What do you mean by therefore? How would you start a statement with therefore? Right? The Brahma Sutra starts with the therefore. Then Brahma Jigyasa, inquire into Brahman. What is Brahman? I don't know. What is inquiry? How to do inquiry? Should I research in the internet? No, nothing is given. It is all given by the guru to the disciple. So it's very brief. Now you can say Brahman means Shiva, Brahman means Devi, Brahman means Vishnu. All the different acharyas will come up with their own interpretation. So he knew that it's going to happen. So he has to give his own commentary on Brahma Sutras for this purpose. So he wrote Bhagavatam also as a commentary to Brahma Sutras, explaining the meanings of the Brahma Sutras. So that fact should also be mentioned in the first verse, because it is a whole commentary on Brahma Sutras, right? And then the whole Vedas have come from the word Om. Om, you can consider, is like a zip file. As soon as you double click the zip file, it expands into like, so much big, so many different files, right? So similarly, Om also has all the Vedas. If you nicely realize Om, you can realize the Vedas. Why? Because Om is a representation of Krishna, and Krishna is none different from the Vedas. So Om. So first the syllable Om came, and from Om, it expanded into Gayatri, which the second initiates chant the Gayatri mantra. That Gayatri then expanded into the Vedas. So he has to mention that fact that the Srimad Bhagavatam is the final piece of the composition. So it should also explain the whole Vedas in one sense. So he should mention that fact also in first verse of Bhagavatam. So a lot of things to cover for Vyasadeva. So he has to give so many meanings. We know Sanskrit provides you the ability to compose verses with multiple meanings behind it. You would see in the works of Rupa Goswami, he would write the first verse of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Akila Rasamrita Murti. Two different meanings. The entire verse in one meaning will glorify about the moon. How beautiful is the moon. In the night, it is covered by this, different stars, and then it is nicely placed, beautifully placed. Then the same verse is actually glorifying about Krishna as well. Moon as well as Krishna. So the Sanskrit provides you that facility to convey multiple meanings in the same verse. So we'll start looking at the different meanings of the first verse. Let's see how far we can go, get into it today. So we'll recite the first verse. I'll recite the full verse, then any one of you can recite it as well. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadyasya Yatonmayati Taratas Charte Svabhigyaswarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye Muhyanti Yatsuraya Tejo Varimritham Yata Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Mrisha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi Janmadyasya Yatonmayati Taratash Charteshvabhigyaswarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye Muhyanti Yatsuraya Tejo Varimridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Mrisha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi Janmadyasya Yatonmayati Taratash Charteshvabhigyaswarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye Muhyanti Yatsuraya Tejo Varimridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Mrisha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi. Anyone of you would like to recite? Please go on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadyasya Yatonvayaditaratas Charteshva Abhignaswarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye Muhyanti Yatsuraya Tejo Varimridam Yata Vinimayo Yatra Trisargam Risa Damna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi.
Thank you. Anybody else? Please go ahead.
जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितिरतश्चार्तेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने हृदय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरय तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि.
Thank you. Ananda Kishore Prabhu.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadhyasya Tonvayaditaratas Chartheshu Abhikyaswarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye Muyanti Yatsuraya Tejo Vari Mridham Vetha Vinimayo Yatra Tisargo Mrisha Damna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi.
Thank you. Rogini Dollar Prabhu. Tulasi Vilas Prabhu.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadyasya Yatonvayaditaratas Chartheshu Bhikyaswarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye Muhyanti Yatsuraya Tejo Varimridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Mrisha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi.
Thank you. So let us all recite together 2 more times. Janmadyasya yatonmayati taratash charteshvabhigyaswarar tene brahma hridaya adikavaye muhyanti yatsuraya tejo varimridam yatha vinimayo yatra trisargo mrisha dhamna svena sada nirasta kuhakam satyam param dhimahi janmadyasya yatonmayati taratash chateshvabhigyaswaran tene brahma hridaya adikavaye muhyanti yatsuraya tejo varimridam yatha vinimayo yatra trisargo mrisha dhamna svena sada nirasta kuhakam satyam param dhimahi. So try to memorize this verse. It's very beautiful to memorize, as well as provides you a lot of opportunity to speak about Krishna as well, because a lot of things are packed in this. Okay, so we'll read the translation and then we'll look at the Sanskrit verse itself. Anybody would like to read the translation? Yeah, go ahead.
O my Lord, Sri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen in fire or land seen in water. Only because of him do the material universes temporally manifested by the reactions of the three modes of material nature, appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth.
So this verse has a very long purport from Srila Prabhupada. And our Acharya is also write a very long purports. For example, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary on just the first 3 verses of Bhagavatam on first canto covers 10% of his commentary for the whole first canto of Bhagavatam. Just the first 3 verses, 10%. The remaining verses, so many verses, 90% it covers. It's a lot of things to pack. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who is guru of Srila Prabhupada himself, he gave a lecture on the first verse of Bhagavatam for 1 month in Bangladesh. So we could imagine how much things are there to speak about the first verse. But you have all been very kind to me, and I was a little fearful in the beginning, but you have made me very comfortable. So I'm going to repay you back. Do you need a break before we jump into the verse? Any of you? No? 5 minutes break? No? Okay, sure. Let's jump into the verse. Okay. Could you scroll to the verse again? So we'll look at the Sanskrit itself. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, it is a glorification of Lord Krishna. Then comes the word, verse Janmadi. So how many words you can recognize in this verse? Maybe any of you can share. Janma, Adi. Okay. Janma means birth. Okay. Adi means first. Okay. What else? Itaratas. What does itaratas means? Other things. Okay. Huh? Swarat. What is Swarat? Independence. Nice. Abhigya. What is Abhigya? Who knows? Knows, all knowing. Okay. What else? Brahma. What is Brahma? Lord Brahma. Adikavi is Brahma. Okay. Adikavi is Brahma. Okay. Refers to the knowledge. Okay. Brahma refers to the knowledge. We have a lot of controversy there. Heart. Hrida is heart. Okay. Mukhanti. Illusion. Okay. Confused. Suryaha. What is it? Sun, demigods. Okay. What else? Tejo. What is it? Brightness. Splendor. Okay. What else? Trisarga. What is Trisarga? 3 modes of material nature. Okay. Mrisha. What is Mrisha? You landed on a landmine. Please go ahead. Mrisha, you want to say something? Okay. Not sure. Huh? Which appears to be real. Okay. Mrisha. Something in context. Vari means water. Okay. Very nice. What else? Satyam, you said Satyam. Truth. Okay. Param. What is? Param. Transcendental. Nice. Dhamna. His home. Dhama. We got to Vraja, Navadvip, all Dhamas. Sada. Always. Okay. Dhimahi. Okay. Meditate. Okay. Anything else we missed? Almost we covered the whole verse, right? You are all scholars. So we look at the first meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam. Most of you have already figured out the meaning. So first interpretation of this verse says about Bhagavan, his majestic aspect. Janmadi asya. Janma means birth. Adi can mean first. Adi in Sanskrit also means etc. So on. Okay. Janma, birth and so on. What else could be? Death and then maintenance. Maintain yourself. Birth, death and maintenance. Birth, death and maintenance. Asya. Asya means this, of this. Okay. Birth, death and maintenance of this whole universe comes from somebody. It says yataha, means someone else. It's not defining who is that person. From this person, birth, death and maintenance of the universe has come about. Next word, anvayat. We skipped that word. It's a very difficult word. Anvayat itaratascha arteshu abhignaha. So if you look at it, this verse has multiple phrases. We are going by phrase. Janmadhyasya ataha is first phrase, which tells birth, creation and destruction, birth, death and maintenance of this universe comes from somebody. The next phrase is Anvayat itaratascha arteshu abhignaha. So, where is creation, maintenance and destruction of the universe come from? Who could be that person? Mahavishnu. What other answers are there? What about material nature? Pradhan. That is a cause also. Without that, nothing can happen. So Pradhan is like, if you take the pot making process. So they used to make the pot from the clay, right? So the clay is an ingredient cause for making the pot. The pot requires the clay to be there. So in one sense, you can say the clay is actually the cause of the pot, right? For pot creation to happen, the clay has to be there, right? So similarly, the pradhana is the basic element for this whole material nature. So from that is creation, maintenance and destruction. All these things of material nature, this universe has come about. There's a question, there's a doubt. Is that material nature being talked about here? Or is it God, Mahavishnu is being talked about here? So it has to be clarified. Otherwise, if we just go with that ambiguity, then you could give another interpretation of this verse. It has to be specialized. So the next phrase says, Anvayat itaratascha arteshu abhignaha. He directly and indirectly, this person knows all the byproducts. Artha means byproducts of all these things. He knows directly and indirectly. Material nature is unconscious. This table is unconscious. My body is also unconscious. It is because I, as the soul present in this, it is conscious. As soon as I leave this body, it's going to be a dead matter. There is no consciousness in it. This whole body belongs to the material nature. So matter is unconscious. It cannot know. But the next phrase says, knows, abhignaha. He knows. So it is distinguishing. It is not material nature. It is a person who knows things. And how does he know? He knows directly and indirectly. Anvaya means directly. Anvayat itaratas. Indirectly. Itarata means opposite of anvaya. So that is indirectly. How does he know directly and indirectly? We just, in the beginning of this class, we read Brahma Samhita. It says, Andantarastha paramanu chayantarastham. Anda antarastha. What is situated within the anda? Anda refers to the universe. Parama anu. Atoms are residing within that anda. Andantarastha paramanu cha ayantarastham. Within that, this person is situated. So he is situated within every atom of this whole universe. So by being in every atom, he knows everything completely. Even he is within us also. He knows us also. What we are, who we are, what this universe is. Completely, directly. It's not like somebody has to tell him about, this happened at a particular place. For us, that's the case. Outside of this temple, what is happening? I have to catch up with my friends to know, right? I have to look at the news, what's happening in the US. But this person knows every detail directly. But he also knows something indirectly as well. Any example? What Lord could know indirectly? what we are going to do. Okay? He knows the future also. Okay? He's a Trikalagya. He knows past, present and future. Bhavishya and Bhuta. He knows both. What else he has to know indirectly? The love of his devotees, very good example. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has to become Radharani herself, take the mood of Radharani to know the love of God. Well, that's a nice example. What else? The pain we are suffering through. God doesn't know the pain in the sense that if he doesn't experience pain, right? But if we experience pain, but in one sense we are non-different from the Supreme Lord because we are his Shakti. Just like a person, when a king he uses a sword and then he kills opponent in a war, and then he comes back to his country, and then everybody says, "Oh, the great sword, what a majesty it has done, it has killed its opponents." Nobody praises like that. Nobody praises the sword. They praise the king, right? Why? The sword acts as his Shakti, his element. It is non-different from the king. Even though the sword is the one which actually killed the opponent, but because it is non-different from non-different from the king, it is also a representation of king. So similarly, we, the Shakti of the Lord, we are also in that sense non-different from the Supreme Lord. So because we know pain, we are experiencing the pain, he knows that indirectly through us, that we know that. Then he knows that pain as well. So love and pain, nice. Okay. Who else knows everything in this universe? In this universe? Lord Brahma, very nice question. So this verse talking about Lord Brahma, because Brahma knows also everything. So it has to be distinguished. So here is the word Swarat is used. Not only Lord Brahma, all the living entities also know. We also know directly and indirectly. We may not know completely, each one of us, but collectively we may know together. Some, approximately you can say most of the part of the universe, because everywhere the jivas are pervading. So collectively we know what is this universe, directly and indirectly. So here it has to say Swarat. This person is not dependent on somebody. So when Prabhupada was coming from Bombay to the US, he was coming in a ship, and the ship was going in the Atlantic Ocean. And if you ask a sailor, Atlantic Ocean is actually very, very fierce in nature. Very difficult to travel the Atlantic Ocean. Prabhupada was saying the whole ship was tossed like a matchbox in the gigantic ocean. It was like a matchbox. None of the expert sailors sitting in that boat could control how it should go, because the waves are just throwing away the boat. And so when I was small, in my hometown, Madurai, I come from Madurai in India, there is the river called Vaigai. You also come from Madurai? Oh, nice. So there is a river called Vaigai. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited Madurai, he also took bath in Vaigai, Kritamala river. So it has its special potency that Lord himself took bath. It comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So that Vaigai, I used to go along with my friends to swim there. I was learning swimming at that time. I was touching the teenage years. So I don't know the different styles of swimming. There is butterfly, and then there is free form. There's so many things are there. I don't know all of these things. I just know how to stay afloat in the water. That's all, very beginner, right? And I was learning that also, but I could stay in the water at that point. So we all went to take bath in that Vaigai river. And one incident happened. Another boy, who is also of same age, he didn't know swimming. He went deep into the waters, and because of that, he started, going inside the water. But then once he went inside the water, he was touching the floor, and then he was pushing himself up to come out of the water. Breathe, go in, down, dip, and then again push up, come out. He was doing that again and again because he doesn't know swimming, and there was no coach there to help him, right? Here, throw, come on, use this tube and come out. No, nobody was there. So I was thinking, I should feel compassion on this person. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that the student, when he goes to the first year in Gurukul, right, if after completing his first year, he thinks, Ahameva Pandita, I am the only Pandit in the whole world. But subjects were very easy and he has learnt it. And he knows, oh, I know everything, right? So once he goes further into the subject, then he realizes, oh, there's a lot more. And then other people also know. So he says, Aham api pandita. I am also a pandit. There are other pandits there. I am one of the pandits. Right? Then further he grows. Then he says, it's so vast. It's growing and growing and growing, the subjects I need to learn. And different people are expert in different subjects. And I finally come to the conclusion, Aham na pandita. I am not a pandit. I don't know anything, That's the conclusion he comes to. But in the beginning, the Batu, he is called, the Chota person. He thinks, I know everything, right? So I was learning swimming. I did not know so many different things, you need to learn, especially when you're trying to save a person. Be very careful if you're learning swimming. Don't go and try out that. So I did not know. Nobody instructed me. So I just went and gave my hand to him, right, to pull him out. He pulled my hand inside. I went along with him inside the water. And then he grabbed my kantimala from behind. I was wearing kantimala at that point. Behind. And then both of us now are going inside and out. Up and down, up and down, up and down. He was doing alone. I gave him company now. And then at that point I thought, what is that? Life is going to end. The moment when you're realizing you're running out of breath, that's it. Everything is going to end. It has come so soon, right? So then there was another person who is an expert, who is not unlike me. He came in between the legs of the person who is, actually dipping in that. He went directly into between his legs, and then he pulled him out of the water and threw him away into the shallow water directly. He did a very clever thing. Then that guy set free away. I was also, said that I'm never going to help this person. Especially when you don't know, you have to practice nicely, right? So we are not independent. One moment I was independent, the next moment I was dependent. Somebody else has to come and save me. We are not Swarat. We are dependent completely on somebody else. Same thing. I don't know what is eating inside my body. Doctor may diagnose something, there is this problem you have. You have this much time. Doctor can say at any point in time, right? Anything can happen. We don't know how much finance we have saved, put in the stock market. What happened? Recession is going to come or not? All of us are speculating. Hoard the money, save money, a lot of money, so that we won't have any problem. Somebody fires us also. So any moment, Facebook, we have fired a lot of people. Amazon fired a lot of people. Many devotees have to struggle getting another job as well. Any moment, anything can happen. We are completely dependent. So who is that independent person? It is Supreme Lord, Swarat. So it is distinguishing, not the Jivas, not Lord Brahma, but Krishna, who is completely independent. If you can go back to the verse, please. Could you project the verse here? Okay. So we completed the word Swarat. First line is done. But many Puranas also glorify Brahma. He is the maintainer, he is the creator, he is the supreme, he is completely independent, right? Many Puranas also glorify, especially the Rajasic Puranas. So can Brahma be the person? He is also independent. So then the next phrase says, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. So here Adi Kavi means Brahma. Adi Kavi is Brahma. Why he is called Adi Kavi? So what does a poet, Kavi means a poet. What does a poet do? He expresses his artistic expressions, right, in the form of poem or drawings, or products. This modern day, artistic expression of various products, designs, interior designs. These are all artistic expressions. Music, through music you can express yourself very artistically. Brahma was the first person to create all the things around us. The flowers, he put his artistic expression, right? He's Adi Kavi, he's the first Kavi. That Brahma, he instructed. There is another word, Brahma, there. That Brahma means Vedic knowledge. Brahma janati iti brahmanaha. The Brahmana is a person who knows Vedas. Brahma also means Lord Brahma, but here in this case it is Vedas. So he instructed that Vedas. Tene means he expanded. This person expanded Vedas into the heart of Lord Brahma himself. So here again Brahma is distinguished. Brahma is eliminated. Who is the target of this verse? But we don't see that Brahma going to Gurukul and then sitting in front of a teacher. Never heard a story that he learned Vedas like that. Because in those days, when you want to learn Vedas, first you need to get to the Upanayana ceremony. The father will instruct in your ears Gayatri mantra. And then he will put a sacred thread, the Brahmin thread, and then he will send you to the school. And in the school, you go to the guru and then learn for years and years and years, sit and study the Vedas. We don't see Brahma learning that, right? He says, Hrida, through the heart. He didn't sit and teach directly, but through the heart, he revealed that whole Vedic literature. But again, still the doubt is not clear. Can it be Lord Shiva? So it says, Muhyanti yat surayaha. Muhyanti means put into confusion. Suris means the great heroes or the demigods. All the demigods are put into illusion. There is the story that is narrated even in Shiva Purana also, that Lord Shiva was sitting next to Parvati. And then he was asking Vishnu, you have taken an attractive form of Mohini Murti. Please show me that form. I heard that it is very beautiful form. So Mohini Murti is a beautiful woman form Krishna has taken, right? Please show me this form. I want to see. And then at a remote place, suddenly Lord Shiva is saying there is a very beautiful woman playing with a ball. And then she was wearing a sari. And then the garments are also coming off. So Shiva was attracted. The Yogeshwara, he is Ishvara of yoga. He has all the siddhis with him. He is very celibate. He has controlled everything. He is sitting right next to Parvati. He was attracted by Mohini Murti. Not only he was attracted, he actually ran towards her to catch her. His attraction was too much. So that Lord Shiva was also put into bewilderment by this person. Okay. So this person is not Shiva, but this person also bewilders even Shiva. And then we have the story of Brahma Vimohana Leela. Brahma is also bewildered. So when Krishna appeared in the form of a human-like form, and then he played with the cowherd boys in the forest. So Brahma sitting there in his planet, he was thinking, this doesn't look like Supreme God. My Supreme God is Vishnu. He is very majestic. He has a Changa Chakra Kada Padma, and then he sits in Vaikunta, very majestic and opulence. This person looks like some cowherd boy. Is it true? Is he really the Supreme God or not? Right? He got a confusion. And then he went and stole all the cowherd boys and the gopas and the calves to see how is he going to solve that situation. The next moment he hid all of these persons, and then he came and saw all these persons again there. Krishna expanded himself into the cowherd boys and the calves himself. So even Brahma was confused. How about Indra? We know the story of rain in the Vrindavan. So Indra was also thinking, who is this Krishna? So Krishna at the beginning of the Govardhan Leela pastime, he actually said to the Vrajavasis, don't worship Indra. You worship the cows because the cows give you milk. You worship the Govardhan because Govardhan gives you food, So worship that. Why are you worshipping Indra? He did that purposefully to reduce the pride of Indra. Indra got angry. Who is this person, small person, coming against me? And then he thought, I will destroy the whole village by rain. He called Samvartaka and other people to shower rain like anything in Govardhan, in the Vraja Bhumi. But Krishna lifted the entire Govardhan and saved the whole village. So then later Indra accepted his defeat. So even Indra was put into confusion by Krishna. So this is not Indra as well. Mukhiyanti yat surya. How they get confused is explained in the next line. Tejo vari mrudam yatha vinimayo. Yatha means an example. An example is given. Okay. What is the example? Vinimaya means mixing up. Teja vari mrud. Fire, water, earth. All these things are mixing up. How? When you when you drive in the highway, right? Nobody is there. It's a long, straight highway. When you're driving in your car, you would see from the far off, there is some water in the middle of the road, right? And then when you go drive near to that, you see, there is no water. It's a mirage. I realized that when I was in my teenage years. First time I saw there's something like water. Drive my cycle toward that, and then I saw nothing is there. So it's fire, heat waves are going up. The heat waves, we mistake it for water. So we are mixing up the idea of fire and water. So similarly, when you are sailing a long time in the water, in the boat, you can also mistake anything that appears, you would think, that's the land. That land has come, because the sailor is so much looking forward for the land. You can mistake it for earth. And a glass particle. Sometimes somebody put a glass particle on the floor, we may think there is some water spilled over. Or looking at the water, we may get confused about maybe it's a glass. Glass is actually earth. Earth means steadiness. So mixing up. So like mixing up all these ideas, the devas are also put into illusion. They mistake one thing for the other. Yatra trisargaha mrisha. So in this person is giving the truthfulness to the three sarga. Three sarga is three worlds of creation. So the three worlds are there. Upper planetary system, lower planetary system, and middle planetary system. So he is giving truthfulness to this. That means if God is not there, all these things will just fade out into existence. Because God is there, all these things look real, looks very attractive also. This is the God's energy. Krishna says in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, I am this, I am that. So many things he is glorifying. He is pervading all these things. So because of all these things, it becomes Trisarga Amrisha. There is a apostrophe mark there that says A is elided because of Sandhi. Amrisha. But it can also be read as Trisargo Mrisha. Sanskrit also allows you to read that. Mrisha means false. Amrisha means truth. Completely opposite meaning. Right? So the three worlds, which is like false, it appears truthful. When you say false, what is false? False means that which doesn't exist in three times. Past, present, and future. If something exists in past, present, and future in the same state, that is truth. If it is not, then it is false. So this world is a temporary. In that sense, it is false. That I'm not the same person I was existing in the past. I'm changing. This Mrisha, which is a false thing, it appears as truthful. Amrisha, because of this person. But does that affect the person also? No. Next phrase says, Dhamna svena sada nirasta kohakam. Dhamma means place, but also Amarakosha says it means a form. By his own form, he is all the time removing the kuhaka. Kuhaka means deceitfulness or illusion. He does not have any illusion within him. So this whole world is false, but he does not have falsity within him. Okay, that's what the next phrase says. Satyam param dhimahi. That is the absolute truth. Let us worship that absolute truth. Let us meditate. So here he uses the word dhimahi. Dhimahi is plural first person. So first person plural means all of us. Let us all together meditate. So Vyasadeva is saying this for all the readers. He is giving a call, invitation to all of us to come into, take up this process of meditating on the Supreme Lord Satyam Param. Dhimahi, does this word strike, especially for the second initiates? It strikes. Gayatri mantra contains this word. In the third line, Dhimahi is there. So it's by this, using this phrase. Actually, Dhimahi is a phrase you don't generally use it in Puranas, because Puranas use a different kind of Sanskrit called the Laukika Sanskrit. There you would have used Dhyayamahe. Okay. Here is Dhimahi is there. So it is using a Vedic word, Dhimahi, to indicate that it is an explanation on Gayatri. Satyam Param Dhimahi. There also it comes the same meaning in Gayatri mantra also. Let us meditate on the Supreme Lord, Dhimahi. Another phrase also would strike you if you have read Vedanta Sutra. What phrase is that? This whole verse. Janmadhyasya. It is the second verse of Brahma Sutras. The first verse is Atato Brahma Jigyasa. The second sutra is Janmadhyasya yataha. By this it is also indicating that it is a commentary on Brahma Sutras. It starts with the Brahma Sutra. So he has indicated three factors. That this Bhagavatam is going to define about Bhagavan. Then it is an explanation on Gayatri, and then it is a commentary on Brahma Sutras, Janmadhyasya yataha. So before we go into other explanations, any reflections, any questions you would like to? Yes, Rohini Dulal Prabhu. You want to use the mic?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
So, I want to understand more about this word Mrisha.
Okay.
So, sometimes it is mentioned as, the material world is true. And, but what is the illusion is the interactions and the experiences that we may go through, the material illusion. So, that is false. But here it is mentioned as the material world itself is unreal, and which can be seen as real because of his illution. So
okay, it looks like a Mayavadi idea.
Yeah.
So the Mayavadi says, Jaga, what is that?
Brahma Satya.
Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya. Brahman is the truth, everything else is bogus, right? It is all you are thinking in your mind. Actually, it doesn't exist, all these things. That's the idea. No, here, when we say false in the sense of temporariness, that it is temporary. That which exists in all the three times is said to be the truth. So in that sense, only the Atma is truth here. And Bhagavan is truth. Atma doesn't change in three phases of time. Bhagavan doesn't change. The spiritual world doesn't change, right? So these are all truth. But everything else is false in the sense that they change, keep on changing. For example, I am a software engineer. Is this statement true? Yes, I'm a software engineer. I work at a particular company. This statement is true today, right? But after 20 years, it may not be true. I cannot say the statement anymore. It's a time-bounded truth. So time-bounded truth is actually false because it cannot stand the test of time. After a particular point, there is an expiration point. It comes. Expiration date is there. Even for my own self, this body, there is an expiration date. It has to expire at some time. So this is time-bound truth. So it is considered false in that sense. The other point you also mentioned, that our attachment to this whole material world, that I am this body, I'm going to be this body, that is also a false notion, because I am actually Atma. That is the first instruction Krishna is giving in the second chapter. He starts with that. You are not this body, you are actually the spirit soul. The first instruction he gives us, So that idea is also a false, that I am thinking I am this body. So there are two types of falsities. Krishna is giving truthfulness in the sense that he makes things come into alive. So in the beginning, in the second canto, we see the prayers of the demigods. So when the demigods were created, at the beginning of the creation, the whole world, the whole universe is created. But it was like a dead matter. It was not moving. The whole universe is explained in terms of a human body, Virat. The head is this, the hands are this, the legs are this, all these things. The whole Virat form is like a dead body was lying down, not coming into picture. So the Devatas have to pray to Krishna to make it animate. Then he comes as Paramatma inside, and then he animates, activates the whole universe. It comes to liveliness, so by Krishna's presence. So it gives that truthfulness to this whole universe, that aliveness.
Thank you, Prabhu. So the Mayavadis, Jagan Mithya, when they say it, they say that whatever is temporary truth is also not truth. In that sense, they speak that.
They say, they use additional terms to define that. Mithya means, they say there is a Vyavaharika Satta and there is Paramarthika Satta. So Vyavaharika Satta means, these things what you are doing, like if a tiger comes here, I'm not going to sit here, I will run away, right? So if Mayavadi, if he is sitting here, he would also run away along with me, right? So this is false. He says it is false, but why is he running away? So he says it's a Vyavaharika truth. It is only truth for you to deal with. Otherwise, it is actually false. You are thinking in your mind. That is their idea. You are thinking there is a tiger. There is actually no tiger. But why are you running? He has to justify why he is running. So he says it's a Paramarthika Satta, Vyavaharika Satta. He uses a technical term to escape this understanding. So their concept of mithya is like that. It's not even present. It is all in the head. I'm again using indirect expression. Because there is no head also. And the idea of Mayavadis also should be false, isn't it? Because that is also existing in this world only. Everything is false. Only the Brahman exists. You need to have a lot of faith to believe.
So they don't practice it basically.
Yeah, this is what Prakashananda Saraswati says. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained the full meaning of Brahma Sutras to Prakashananda Saraswati, even Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, they say, actually we were having so much difficulty in taking the commentary of Shankara because we were not very much satisfied with the explanation. Even the academician, one of the academic person, George Thibaut, he's just a scholar. He's not a practicing person or anything like that. He has translated Shankara's Bhashya and Brahma Sutra. He has translated Ramanujacharya's Brahma Sutra. He hasn't translated Baldev Vidyabhushan. He was in the past, a long time ago. He says he's translated all these works for the Oxford Press. So he says there, actually comparing all these things, as an unbiased person, I come to the conclusion Ramanujacharya's commentary is very much aligned with Brahma Sutra rather than Sankaracharya. Sankaracharya's commentary is twisting and turning everything. So an academic person is giving his opinion, unbiased opinion. You can see that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also says the same meaning, that same thing, that Brahma Sutra is very clear, but you are taking and twisting and turning it. Of course, Sankaracharya is a great Acharya. We call him Acharya and we offer all respects to him. Just like Buddha, Lord Buddha, we offer all respects to Lord Buddha. But we don't accept their philosophy. Why? There is a story behind that. That Lord Shiva was given an order by Krishna to appear in this Kali Yuga to distract people. Because people were taking advantage of bhakti. Bhakti is something sacred. We cannot take advantage of bhakti. use it for some of our own material purposes. So because everybody was taking advantage of it, he wanted people to be distracted away from bhakti at that point. So Sankaracharya came and he did that. As well, there was another reason for Sankaracharya to appear. So when Lord Buddha appeared, Buddha's intention was to move away all these people from animal sacrifices. But what happened, he rejected only part of the Vedas which describe animal sacrifices. But the people, followers, end up rejecting the whole thing. This happens now. The disciples sometimes may think, I should go above my guru and then, accomplish these things. Same thing happened with the Sankaracharya's followers. Sankaracharya did not comment on Bhagavatam, but the disciples thought, we should do something more. They commented on Bhagavatam. Also, they give a whole impersonal interpretation as well. So they rejected the whole Vedas, the followers of Lord Buddha. But then Sankaracharya appeared. His only goal was one thing: make people believe in Vedas. How can you do that? You have to say to the people, you see, Lord Buddha has told you about something, about the truth and these things. This is not a new idea. It is already there in the Vedas. Come back to the Vedas. I will show you how it is there. Lord Buddha said, Shunyavad. Nothing exists. Shankaracharya says, Brahman exists. But what is Brahman? You cannot define Brahman. You cannot talk about it. There is no quality in Brahman. What is it? Almost equivalent to nothing. It's a covered Buddhism. Right? But his goal was one, that make people believe in the Vedas literature. So once the faith is established in the Vedas, then the later acharyas can come and say, oh, the actual meaning of Vedas is this. If you look carefully, you are just, rubbing all the, shooing away all the important details. Look carefully, then you will understand what exactly the Vedas are talking about. So in that way, Sankaracharya has also done a good work. Yes.
I have one question, Prabhuji, but I'm not sure if I'm mistaken, but Shankaracharya was the person who composed Bhaja Govindam.
Yes, good point.
I don't understand.
Yeah, so he has composed Bhaja Govindam also. He says, Moda Mate, a foolish person, worship the Supreme God. Actually, the story behind it is very nice, because I have some interest in grammar, Sanskrit grammar. It is also useful. So one time Shankaracharya was walking in Kashi, and then he saw a very old person, very, very old. He was sitting and reciting the Sanskrit grammar verses. So there is something called Dhatu Pata. Dhatu Pata lists out the root words of Sanskrit. You have to recite it every day so that it will stay in your memory fresh. Same with the Sanskrit sutras also. If you don't recite it, just for 14 days you take off, you'll forget the whole Sanskrit. It is like that, okay? So you should keep on reciting it. So they do it as a daily sadhana. So this very old person was reciting this Dhatu Pata. One of the Dhatu, the first Dhatu is Bhu Sattayam, then it goes Dukrin Karane. Dukr means Karana, doing, activity. That is the meaning of the root word Kr. So he was reciting all these things. Sankaracharya got fed up. At the end of his life, instead of worshipping the Lord, he's reciting this Sanskrit sutras. How is this going to help? He said, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam Mudamate. What is the Samprapte Sannihite Kale Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukran Karane. He says, Dukran Karane is not going to help you. Don't simply sit and recite the Dhatu Pata. Of course, for the old person, in young times it helps, you can learn Bhagavatam nicely. By reciting Dukran Karane also. So he said that, but the followers don't take it. The followers are, because you see what you like to see. I only see what I like to see. Person's natures are like that. So they only see that portion where Shankaracharya has talked about the impersonal Brahman. They reject all other his points. Yes, Prabhuji.
So, Prabhuji, like you said, Bhagavatam is like natural commentary on Vedanta Sutra, but then you would expect the commentary to begin with first verse, right? But then we say it begins with second aphorism.
Why you did not say the first verse?
Yes.
Atata Brahma Jigyasa.
Yeah.
What is the meaning? Inquire into Brahman. What is the last phrase of the verse? Satyam param dhimahi. Satyam param Brahman. Dhimahi jigyasa. Meditate. So there also he says, let us meditate, he says. There the inquiry. What does it inquiry really mean? We discussed in the beginning. What does inquiry word mean? Inquiry means you worship, meditate, research into, right? This is the same phrase is also mentioned, Satyam Param Dhimahi. It is not directly mentioned, but I rephrased it, a paraphrase of that, Satyam Param Dhimahi. So the first sutra, for your satisfaction, is also present in this verse.
I have a follow-up question
Yes,
regarding
yes.
the Puranas. So if Vyasadeva has written so many Puranas,
Yeah.
What is the reason behind writing so many Puranas, right? Because Bhagavatam we understand, being not satisfied, directly trying to reach Narad Muni's conclusion, he wrote it. But before that he has written many Puranas with the same intention. So is it like same thing like Vedas, giving different interpretations for different gradations like Rajasic, Tamasic and Sattvic? So even the Puranas, are they also like, grouped like that?
Yeah. One of the Puranas, I think it's Matsya Purana or Padma Purana. So it classifies the whole Puranas into three categories. There is Sattvic Purana, Rajasic Purana and Tamasic Purana. Tamasic Puranas include Shiva Purana, Linga Purana, even Matsya Purana also comes into Tamasic Puranas. All these Tamasic Puranas glorify Lord Shiva. People are different in this world. You cannot give one solution for everybody. Everybody is not satisfied. Even though Narada Muni said just give one God to worship, but people are not still interested in to worship one God. They want favorites. Oh, I like Lord Shiva. Can you help me? Yes. Here is the thing. Shiva Purana, study. It will glorify Shiva nicely. But then, he also gave the truth as well. These Puranas are classified. So in Tamasic, you don't get knowledge. You get the real knowledge in Sattva. That's where Sattvat Sanjayate Jnanam. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. From the Sattva comes the knowledge, the truth, real truth. So from the Sattvic Puranas, you will learn the actual truth. But because you are not in a state to learn it, you are biased, you are attached to a particular deity, Krishna says, I give the faith to that person to make him worship different demigods as well. So in that way, he is also giving Tamasic Purana and Rajasic Purana to make them attached to different deities. Tamasic Purana also glorifies Agni, and it also glorifies other demigods as well. And Rajasic Purana mainly glorifies Brahma. Those who are attached to Brahma or creative work, they can read this. The Sattvic Purana is for the actual truth, which glorifies the Supreme Lord Vishnu or Krishna. So it's for different categories. And it is also meant like a bridge preaching. So today we do bridge preaching, right? So we go and say yoga, meditation, and then we say, chant Hare Krishna at the end. we want to give them Krishna consciousness. But because people are not ready directly to accept Krishna consciousness, we are giving them packaged. That is not false. It is also true, but we are packaging it. So similarly, Lord Shiva is also Ishvara. He is not a Jiva like us. He is also in the category of Ishvara. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Madhurya Kadamani says, it is Eka Chaitanya. There is only one consciousness between Shiva and Vishnu. Brahma, it is a different consciousness, different living entity. But Shiva and Vishnu, it's one consciousness only. But as Brahma Samhita says, Kshiram Dadi Yata Vishesha Vikara Yogat. So just as milk turns into yogurt when something is added to it. So similarly, when Krishna wants to come very close in contact with the material nature, he takes the form of Shiva. It is the same person, but he has a different function. Because he is in contact with the material modes, that form is not recommended for worshipping to get the liberation. For liberation, you worship the Vishnu, which is completely free from the material modes. So, going back to that point, so it is truth only, Vyasadeva is saying, but is exaggerating for giving faith to the people who wanted to believe those things and slowly elevating them. The goal is to bring them to next step. That's the goal. Where you are. Vidura also does this. Vidura, when he met Dhritarashtra, he did not give bhakti. Even though he is a devotee himself, he actually gives Jnana Yoga. Why? Because Dhritarashtra was not qualified for bhakti. So based on the qualification of the receiver, the preacher also gives different solutions. Authorized solutions. We don't concoct some solution, mix it up here and there and then give. Whatever it works, we have seen in our seniors doing that. We do that. So,
Thank you, Prabhu.
thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna,
Thank you for the wonderful class. So, my question is that why is this first verse of Bhagavatam? Okay, I'll give the context first. Previously, we talked about that Narada wanted Vyasadeva to glorify Lord Krishna more and more. Direct glorification of Lord Krishna. But now, when we talk about this verse, it's more of in the Upanishad style, like it's indirect representation. Like you were saying, it can mean anything. For example, Adi Kaviya can mean Krishna also, Kavim Puranam. And now I can make like I can make the reverse actually. Actually, Brahma spoke to Lord Krishna. So I mean the verse. I think the very direct. So what I'm trying to say is that it's indirect, and then it's not like the first verse is like Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Ete chamsha kalapumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So we don't get a direct idea here that Krishna is Bhagavan. Okay, he is the only object of worship. So why has it been done like that? It was supposed to be very direct glorification of the Lord.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good question. Should be direct glorification of the Lord. Why it has been indirectly mentioned here? Because when you read Bhagavatam, you will understand directly Krishna is being glorified. That is there. But the first verse, the intention of the first verse is not to blast on the face that Krishna is the Supreme God. Worship Him or otherwise get out of this book. So he gives indirectly to say that He is the absolute truth. But also we wanted to go into other interpretation, but we are already running out of time. But in other interpretations also you can see how Krishna is directly glorified in this verse. Though the word you may not find Krishna means all attractive, but He is also glorified in other interpretations as well. So the whole purpose of Him is to give multiple meanings to it. So you have to make the words flexible as well. So if we put Krishna, then we have to interpret it as black or something else. Then it may not fit into His idea of expressing different things. So He is also expressing in that way. The other thing is Bhagavatam is also like Mohini Murti. Vishwanath Chakravarti says it gives nectar to the devatas, but it gives something else to the demons. Mohini Murti did not give nectar to the demons. Mohini Murti gave something else. She cheated them out, but she gave. Everybody were thinking, we are getting the nectar. Such a beautiful woman is giving us nice nectar. They were drinking, but they were not actually drinking the nectar. But the devatas were getting the nectar. So Bhagavatam is like Mohini Murti also. You can, if your intention is not to get the actual truth, you can screw out meanings and you can get non-nectar as well. So multiple purposes are there. When Krishna comes to this world, why does He come? We can say He comes because Brahma went and prayed along with all the demigods. That's one reason. The other reason is He wants to show us His pastimes to the conditioned worlds. How beautiful and charming His pastimes. He is giving an invitation for all of us to participate in His pastimes. That is second reason. Third, He wants to relish love with His devotees Himself, who are performing sadhana here in this world, who have at the stage of bhava and prema, but they need a transition. So He comes here and then puts them in the Bhauma Lila and then takes them back. So He also comes for that purpose as well, right? Three purpose. He also comes to establish the truth, satya, yoga dharma you have to establish, as well as the dharma has to be established. He comes for multiple reasons. So when Krishna does one activity, doesn't do only for one purpose. So when Bhagavatam was written, the main purpose is to glorify Krishna, which has been done throughout Bhagavatam, 40% of Bhagavatam. Still, it has other purposes as well. One of the purposes, hide things from those who don't like it. Hope this helps.
So yes, Prabhu. So help me understand this. Even all other Puranas are like that. Like, you know, if the purpose of the Purana is something, then it will not be revealed initially. Is it like that? Because itihasas are very, 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 I will say, you know, we understand. For example, Ramayana, Valmiki starts with glorifying Lord Ram. He gives the whole Mangala Charan. So that was my next question. This doesn't seem like a Mangala Charan in the Bhagavatam itself, right? So I mean, maybe Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva is there, but but yeah, like normally you have a couple of verses in the beginning.
Beginning, like the itihasa, just glorifying the name.
Yes.
Right?
Glorifying the object you are actually, it's about. So, yeah.
Anybody wants to give an answer? Anybody has any idea, suggestion? Kautukana Prabhu?
Krishna, I will try, Prabhu. I heard the same lecture where Sundaranand Prabhu gave a class on the first 3 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. That this is the introduction of Srimad Bhagavatam, where in the first verse, the subject matter is being explained. What is going to be the subject matter? The absolute truth. What are his qualities? That is going to be the subject matter of this book. Second verse explains the benefits. What are you going to get out of this? One will immediately get out of the threefold miseries of the material world. And in the third verse, Vedvyas is inviting everybody that every sane man should drink this nectar of Srimad Bhagavatam and be benefited, and one can eternally be happy just by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. So the first 3 verses are the prelogue before he actually goes into the once upon a time.
Once upon a time something happened. Rohini Dulal Prabhu.
Prabhu, it was also mentioned that we cannot see the face of the Lord directly. We have to go step by step. So the first 2 cantos are like worshipping the feet of the Lord. So it may not directly describe the Lord in that sense. So it may be a gradual transition towards the ultimate explanation of the Lord.
It's a gradual transition. Nice. Also, one other thing that comes to my mind is Krishna says in 11th canto himself, Paroksham Mama Priyam. You have to do what Krishna likes. He likes paroksha, indirect speech. So when you are glorifying Krishna, you have to do what he likes. First verse, Paroksham Mama Priyam. Also, it shows the status of like this Purana is little different from other works because it is like the Vedas. The Vedas and Upanishads, they don't blare the truth in your face. They just try to say everything indirect because the intelligent mind, they don't want to. Something is direct, oh, fine. But if you say something indirect, oh, there's a puzzle, there is a little, try to find out what's that behind it. They like something to chew on. So that is another meaning, like follows the pattern of the Upanishads rather than regular Puranas as well.
So Bhagavatam is different from Vishnu Purana. Like it's Vishnu Purana is just about Vishnu.
Top of Vishnu.
Directly, from the start to end.
And here it shows its status. That's why it uses the dhimahi, which is used in the Vedas. The word, it uses dhimahi. Okay, we have reached 10 o'clock. Thank you everyone for patiently hearing, and I beg my forgiveness if I have done any mistakes, and please feel free to correct me. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarupasya.
की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. We'll have Guru Puja now. Right. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. We'll read it together. Nam Shreshtam Manumapi Shachiputram Atra Swarupam Shri Rupam Tasya Garjamurupurim Mathurim Goshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivaram Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi. हे गुरोद्ज्ञानदादीन बन्धो स्वानन्ददाता करुणैकसिन्धो वृन्दावनासेन हितावतार प्रसिद्ध राधा प्रणय प्रचार हे दीनबन्धो करुणैकसिन्धो कुरु प्रसादं मयि मन्दमूढे लक्षापराधे बहुपापगाधे Tatpad Padme Stumati Krishne. I bow down to the beautiful lotus feet of my spiritual master, by whose causeless mercy I have obtained the supreme holy name, the divine mantra, the service of the son of Shachi Mata, the association of Srila Swarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami, and his older brother Sanatan Goswami, the supreme abode of Mathura, the blissful abode of Vrindavan, the divine Radha Kund and Govardhan Hill, and the desire within my heart for the loving service of Sri Radhika and Madhava in Vrindavan. O spiritual master, O giver of divine wisdom, O friend of the fallen, you are the giver of your own bliss, and you are the only ocean of mercy. Although dwelling in Vrindavan, you have descended for the welfare of fallen souls like myself, and you are preaching the divine love of Radha for Krishna. Please be kind upon me. O friend of the lowly, O Gurudev, you are the only ocean of mercy. I am a dull fool and have committed hundreds of thousands of offenses. I have fallen into a dense myriad of sins. Therefore, grace me with your mercy so that my mind may be fixed on your lotus feet and on Sri Krishna. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. Our only wish is to have our consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens our darkened eyes and fills our hearts with transcendental knowledge. He is our Lord, birth after birth. From him, ecstatic prema emanates. By him, ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma. Bandhu mui savadhana mate. Jahara prasade bhai e bhavaturiya jai. Krishna prapti hoye jaha hoye te. Guru mukha padma vakya chitite koriya aikya. Guru mukha padma vakya chitite koriya aikya. Arana kori ho mane asha. Shri Guru Charane rati aise uttama gati. जे प्रसाद पूरे सर्व आशा. जे प्रसाद पूरे सर्व आशा. चक्षुदान दिलो जे जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से. चक्षुदान दिलो जे जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से. दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशितो. दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशितो. prema bhakti jaha hoite avidya vinasha jaite Ved gaye jahar charito Ved gaye jahar charito Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu Loknath Lokera Jivana Ha ha Prabhu Koro Doya Deho More Pada Chaya Ha ha Prabhu Koro Doya Deho More Pada Chaya Ebe Jashu Shukri Bhuvana Jaya Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Dishatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Chaitanya Nityananda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol. Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe. Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe. Jaya Mahaprabhu, Jaya Mahaprabhu, Jaya Mahaprabhu, Jaya Mahaprabhu. Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Anantadev. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gora Hari Bol. जय श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन भगवान की जय, श्रीमान महाप्रभु की जय, श्री श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय, जगत गुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल. Okay. What's next, Mataji? Announcement. Okay. So Hare Krishna. We welcome everyone on the Saturday morning program. If you like, then you can have a seat. So I would take a few minutes. So thank you so much for joining on Saturday morning, and we would like to thank His Grace Ashray Madhav Prabhu who started at 6:15 with the Japa circle, and he shared on chanting Hare Krishna, what are the different offenses that we should avoid, and how we can go deep into our sadhana. So let's thank him with big Hari Bol. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! We would also like to thank His Grace Vraja Jivana Prabhu, who is sitting beside us, and he took us into elevator pitch for Srimad Bhagavatam. You know, as Prabhu mentioned, we have only few seconds to put our idea if you want to start offer to an investor for a startup. So that's the elevator pitch. So he showed us how we can understand the elevator pitch from the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. So thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. And we would like to thank Krishangi Gopi Mataji, who has been broadcasting since morning and making all the viewers all over the world this nectar available. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hari Bol. And thanks to all of you who have come early morning. People would be doing so many other things, Saturday morning, maybe sleeping in the bed, but you have come here and made it so much vibrant and enriched. Thank you so much for coming. So let's say Hari Bol for all of you. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! And Hari Bol. Any newcomers, first time? Oh, could you tell us where are you from and your names?
Hi everyone. So I'm Hina Manzar, and basically we are from Punjab, India. I came to Canada, shifted to Canada last December. So he is my husband. He is Sushant. His name is Sushant, and we came here to visit our brother, my brother.
So thank you. Let's say Hare Krishna Mahamantra to welcome them, Hina and Sushant. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we hope to see you again whenever you visit us. Thank you so much for becoming the part of the family. Okay, let's continue. The next is Prasadam prayers.
Any announcements for Sankirtan?
So for Sankirtan, there are teams going. Where is Vaishnav Toshni? I think they have already left for books. But so there are teams going to SF. Do you know Nimish Prabhu?
I'll be going.
Where?
There's somebody I don't know.
Okay, so there's two teams going. Vaishnav Toshni Prabhu will be going, and then Nimish Prabhu will be going. Naveen Prabhu. So if you want to go and distribute books, this is the best time because people are very receptive. This is Christmas time, holiday season. So many teams are going to different parts of Bay Area. You can join any one of them. And we are giving book Bhagavad Gita to everyone. This is Bhagavad Gita Jayanti month. So when Bhagavad Gita was spoken, we have a goal to do 66,000 Bhagavad Gita at least. Very good. We have been doing good really. As of now, we have been going store to store, distributing cases of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Last week, we did more than 5,000 Bhagavad Gitas, last weekend itself. So we want to keep the momentum going and end the year with a strong note, on a strong note. So please join us. You can join for 1 hour, 2 hour, whole day. Please contact me or contact Shri Antariksha Prabhu if you want to join any of the teams. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. And Prasadam prayers. Would you like to sing? Okay, we'll do it together. Sharira Vidya Jal Jodendriya Tahekal Jibe Pele Bishaya Sagore Tar Madhe Jibayati Lobho Maisu Durmati Take jeta katina samsara prasade Krishna bodo doyamoy kori bare jibhajay swaprasadanna dilo bhai seyanamrita pao Shri Shri Radha Krishna guna gao preme dako Shri Chaitanya Nitai Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Swarva Punyavatam Rajan Vishwasunaiva Jayate Prasade Sarva Dukkhana Hanirasya Upajayate Prasanna Chetaso Hi Ashu Buddhi Paryavatishtate Tavyopabhukta Sraganda Vasulankara Charchita Uchishta Bhojino Dasas Tavamayam Jayemahi Bhagavad Shri Mahaprasadam Ki Jai Nitai Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gora Hari Bol Nitai Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gora Hari Bol. Please come and take prasadam. Prasadam will be served in the picnic area. Who are the cooks for today? Shyam Bhakta Prabhu and Hansapriya Mataji. Let's hear for them. Hari Bol! Hari Bol!